Alright, hello friends. So I thought today I would show you a little bit about how I blend my colored pencils. I've had quite a few requests for this to give you guys tips and tricks and to know what stuff is. The piece of paper I used is just this Strathmore mixed media. I just cut a section off of it, so it's really good for when you're doing wet blending or well, actually basically all the types of blending, because it's quite thick. You can add a lot of layers to it without tearing the paper, and it takes the odorless mineral spirits really well. So what I did for you today was created these four ones to show you. So the odorless mineral spirits that I use is this one, Gamblin Gamsol. I keep it in this nice little airtight container here. That way it doesn't, it's got a little dish in here. That way I'm not putting any of the color that may transfer onto my paintbrush back into my bottle. Keeps it nice and clear for the next one. And I can just use a little bit in here and then I'm good. You don't want to have your paintbrush soaking wet when you're using that, so I usually have a little dish like this with just some paper towel in it. You can see I use it multiple times, and I just, after I dip my my paintbrush in, I just kind of blot it out here and then use it on there. So those are the tools you need for your odorless mineral spirits, as well as a variety of different kinds of paintbrushes. I don't have any super fancy ones. I tend to pick up just kind of the cheaper ones. That way if they get wrecked, I'm not too worried about it. The other type is the B&P, which is called brush and pencil. It's this powder blender. So what it is it's just a little container like this, got some powder in it. You use different kinds of foam brushes. As you can see, I've got a variety of these little kind of, they look like makeup brushes, but those are really good for small detail area. And then I also have these. These ones are really good because you can actually take and change the head. So if it gets really dirty, just buy replacement heads. These ones were from other ones, so I'm not going to use these ones today to show you, but I will be replacing these the next time I do anything. So the next thing we have is our colorless pencil. So our color pencil is this. It is the Prismacolor Premier that I have. It has absolutely no color in the lead, and it helps you burnish your paper, which basically gets rid of the tooth, pushes all the colors together, but I will show you a little bit more about that one. And then the other type of blending style that people use is just your typical white, which I have here, so we'll get to that. I'm going to use just kind of four colors. I decided to kind of go with some reds today to show you, because I think they might stand out a little bit more. So usually when you're doing your pencil, you always kind of want to hold it at a 45, tip down, and you rotate it every once in a while to keep your sharp point. You want to try not to sharpen too much, because you will waste a lot of pencil that way. But I am just going to start with my lighter color here, which is a light peach. I use Prismacolors mainly because I'm kind of afraid to use the other brands. Not afraid to use them, but I'm afraid that I'm going to fall in love with them and then I won't be able to go back to my Prismacolor. And the reason I use Prismacolor a lot is because it's very readily available in my area. So I'm just going to start kind of filling in. Hi guys, Mommy's videoing. I'm just going to kind of start filling this in, what we do is light, tiny little circles. Very, very, very light touch. You don't want to push hard because you're going to wreck the tooth of your paper. So I'm just going to go with the light peach here. We're going to do the same. Okay. Going to switch it out to this, which is just a rose pink. Again, light touch, 45-degree angle, and you just the tiniest little circles. And I like to do kind of back and forth, just the lightest little bit into where my peach is already. Especially if you're doing like a color transition. So I'm just going to show you kind of going from lighter to darker colors. Just to see how it kind of goes together. So again, rotate your pencil after a little bit so you keep your sharp point. We're just doing tiny little circles. Instead of going back and forth, which creates harsh lines, you just want to do tiny little circles. Okay, so now I'm going to do this, which is a scarlet red. I chose red today because I figured you could probably see it better than some of the other colors that you might pick. Hopefully you guys can you see that? I can't tell if you can see that. Doesn't look like there's any color. Let's see. You can't see that at all. Okay, hold on. So my lights that I have here are really good for me to see what I'm doing. Not so good for my camera. Yeah, you still really can't see that, can you? What about that? Sorta right, yeah, kinda right there. Alright, so you can kind of see it now. See that I've kind of done peach to pink to red. Now, I'm going to go in with an indigo blue. I really like indigo blue. I use it a lot for my darks. Any place that I feel needs to be black or a dark color, I will usually do a layer base of indigo blue. You don't want to go black. You want to use other colors to create the look of black. Okay, I'm just gonna do this. May cut this part out. Just to speed it up. So what I do usually when I'm doing my color pencil work is never ever blend with one layer. You want a lot of pigment from your pencil on the paper. If you don't have a lot of pigment from your pencil on the paper, blending is not going to work. But again, don't go back and forth. Don't push too hard. Just lightly circles. May look like I'm going back and forth, but what I'm actually doing is circles. Again, more pigment. So what our blender is going to do is it's going to take the color that's sitting on the surface that did not go down into the tooth of the paper, and it's going to basically push it down into the tooth without wrecking the tooth so that you can apply more layers, because layers are how you get that depth that you want. No color in pretty much, I would say, any pencil is going to be enough. You always end up using at least a couple colors to achieve the look you want. So that's kind of my ombre look there for my OMS. I don't know if you guys can see this. Get in a little bit closer maybe. Okay, I think that's good. So again, I'm going to take my container here of my odorless mineral spirits. Going to take my paintbrush and my little tray, and I just dip it in lightly, blot it out, don't want too much, and I always start from the lighter end, and again I do my little circles. And a little bit of odorless mineral spirits will go a long way. You do not want to soak your paper with it. It'll take way longer to dry. It won't look nice. You can get streaks. So again, I just do my little circles. I don't know if you guys can see the difference that it's making. Maybe you'll see it more in the dark area here with the red. But just gonna keep blending till there's no more white left between the color. Because for me, as the artist sitting here, I can see the white that's below it, below the tooth. You may not be able to, but I can. So that's our odorless mineral spirits. So that's how that works. Usually you just let it dry till it's completely dry. Throw on some more light coloring like I did, and then you're good to go. And you can build layers up like that, oh, forever it feels like, until you got the perfect color, the perfect blend that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same for our powder blender. Again, show you, probably see what the difference is. And we'll start with our light peach. Just do our little mini circles here. Move into our rose pink. Make sure you put the rose pink on top of the peach. You don't want a defined line. Just little circles until you get where you want to go. Lightest touch ever. It may seem like I'm pushing really hard. I'm not. As my husband would say, use dainty feather fingers. Very light touch. I'm doing my red into the pink. Lots of circles. Rotate your pencil to keep your point sharp. Holding at a 45-degree angle. Just circle it until you've got it kind of where you want it. Yeah. Okay. Here's my indigo blue coming in here. Just bring it into the red a little bit. Circle it. Now again, you never do it with one layer. Usually you want to do at least 3 layers with this. I'm going to extend my colors on top of each other a little bit more. So I'm going to go with a light pink all the way to the edge of the red. I'm going to take my rose pink, go on top of that again. Again, not pressing hard, a little bit of color at a time. Just kind of want the layers to work together. And doing your circle, rotate your pencil. It all kind of becomes second nature, I guess, after a while. You just kind of rotate your pencil and you don't even realize you've done it. Okay, again, red. Into the blue a little bit more, I think. Okay, red's done, and we'll go with one more layer of our indigo blue. Okay, so can you kind of see the difference between those two? This one, there's no white. You can kind of see, let me see over here, this way. You can kind of see the white paper through the, what I just colored versus the odorless mineral spirits. So I'm just gonna take one of my little brushes here, open my powder blender. I'm just gonna dip it in a very, very minimal amount. Again, I start with my lighter section and I just do my circles. Now what this does is it makes it nice and slick, and the white powder picks up the pigment that's left on top. As you can see, it's kind of a little bit orangey on my brush, and it pushes it down into the cracks of the paper. Now with this technique, again, layering is key. You want to do quite a few layers of your pencil before you blend. And then once you've blended it to how you want it, you actually want to spray it. I don't have the stuff up here right now, so I can't show you. But there's a special spray that you spray on top of this product. It seals it in and allows you to keep building your layers. So see that, the difference. For those two, and then we will do the colorless one here as well. Just gonna get this done. I'm gonna do it faster just because I'm shaking my camera, aren't I? So I'm just doing bigger circles to get it done a little bit faster, but that way you guys don't have to sit here for forever watching me color. In the meantime, if there is anything else that you guys would like me to show you, please let me know. I'm happy to put together other videos for you guys. I'm personally new at this, so please bear with me if these videos aren't the greatest to begin with. I'm getting used to how the camera operates. I'm getting used to talking to what feels like talking to myself. Normally I only do that in my head, not out loud, or at least I don't think I do. So yeah, if you guys have any other ideas as to what you want me to show you, bear in mind this is just my process. There are a lot of other great videos out there. And if this doesn't give you a lot of help, that's fine. There are other videos out there that are probably really good for you to look into. But I just wanted to show you the four main ones that I use. As I said before, this is just my process. This is what I use, what I do when I'm creating my works. And since I've had requests for videos and help and teaching, I'm going to try to do that for you guys, try to give you guys what you've asked for. And I thought I would start with this one because sometimes when I'm explaining what product I've used, people have no idea what I'm talking about. So this will give you a breakdown of the different products. So again, I'm going to use this colorless Prismacolor pencil blender. It's got no color in the tip. And we're just going to go over the whole thing again. Small circles. Just pushes, what it basically is it's doing is it's pushing down the tooth of the paper, making it smooth. And in the process of doing that, it is moving the pigment down into the tooth area. This is really good if you want to do something that has a very shiny look to it. So glass, wine glasses, glassware, reflections. It's all about kind of knowing what the texture's supposed to look like, and that can help you know which blender to use really to get the look you're looking for. So for this, I just go over it again in my circles, and I just go over multiple times, pushing the color down. I do push a little bit harder for this one. And this one is kind of, you don't want to do it in layers too much. You don't want to do this and then put more color on, because you won't have any tooth to pick up that color. You kind of want to do this as your last step, when you're really happy with where your colors are, and then you can go ahead and burnish the paper. And again, burnishing basically is just flattening the tooth of the paper out. And in doing so, you push the color down into the paper without changing the color, because the pencil is colorless. So I don't know if you can see the difference between the three. This one fills it in really, really good. I like to use OMS for big areas. I find it gets it in really, really good. Looks a little bit brighter. This, you have to build it up quite a bit, but I love Brush and Pencil product. To me, that's one of the best products out there. I use it all the time because it's so quick and easy just to give it a light spray, wait for the spray to dry, and you're on your way to the next layer. So it feels like you're really able to build up your layers fast, and you don't need a lot of it. I mean, I bought this little container. I've done quite a few, and I've still got tons left. So I feel like that's, it's if you don't like using the odorless mineral spirits, that is your other go-to. Now you can actually do a bunch of these together. So you could do a layer, your bottom layer of odorless mineral spirits, to really get the color deep down into the tooth of the paper. And then for your other layers on top, you can do Brush and Pencil powder, or the powder blender on top of it. to build up your depth, to build up your different colors, and it'll work just as good. I don't know about the longevity of using odorless mineral spirits underneath, but I do know you can combine them if you are unhappy with one look. You can try a bunch of different ones. So again, I'm going to do 2 layers, because on any piece you're going to be doing, you're never going to do 1 layer and call it good, ever. I've never ever done 1 layer of pencil and been happy with it. Been like, yep, that's the color I was looking for. Nope. I don't know anybody who has ever been happy with 1 color. We'll get our reds here going. Sorry if this is shaking. My camera stand is attached to my desk, and my desk shakes every time I move. Well, it doesn't shake, but I can see it shaking my camera stand, so to me it doesn't feel like it's moving, but I can tell it is. Okay, so again, this is the white. It's just plain old white colored pencil, so it's going to make things lighter. But again, it does the same thing as the colorless, where it's going to burnish it. I'm going to put the white over top. It's going to be hard to see with the light peach. You might be able to see it better. Again, you're just going to do your light circles. And it's doing the same thing as the colorless, where you're just pushing down the tooth of the paper until it's smooth. And just like the colorless, you don't want to do this one right away. You kind of want to leave this to your last step, your last stage, once you've built up your layers already. And you only want to do this to achieve certain textures. Other textures are not flat, they're not shiny. Leaves, foliage that can be shiny are good to do this on, but like backgrounds of trees and stuff, probably not the best. They're not that shiny. So kind of see how it's blending it here. And so those are the different styles. Let me see, can you guys see that? You see the difference? There's not a ton of difference. Look-wise, it just depends on what your preference is, the tools that you like to use. I like to use them all, depending on what I'm doing, and also depending on the type of paper I'm using. Like I said, I'm using the mixed media for this little tutorial. It's good because it's hard like Bristol, but it's got a bit more tooth to it. So it's really good for the powder blender and the odorless mineral spirits. Actually, it's really good for all of them. If I was to use Bristol, which is what I use mostly for my graphite and my charcoal, it doesn't have much of a tooth, but you can still get a lot of color on it, which is nice. If you use a sanded paper, then your OMS and your brush and pencil powder blender is great for that. These ones, the sanded paper will just chew them up. You will end up with no pencil left. So if you're going to try to get them into the really deep tooth like a sanded paper, definitely you want to use these two. And that is it for my little tips and tricks for this time. Let me know what you guys want to see more of, and I will try to put those together for you. All right, see you later.